In 1963, your grandmother cleaned an entire 3-bedroom terrace with white vinegar, bicarbonate of soda, and a bar of Sunlight soap. No warning labels, no 8-pound bottle of method spray from Waitrose. And her house was spotless. Today we spend over £3 billion a year on cleaning products in this country, and our homes are no cleaner than hers were. Number 7 uses a chemical reaction that scientists found to outperform every branded lime scale remover on the market. Number 3 involves an ingredient so cheap that Procter & Gamble spent millions to make you forget it existed. If you understood what your grandmother understood, you would walk past 90% of those bottles without a second glance. Let us count down the 20 oddly useful British cleaning hacks that actually work. Number 20. Newspaper for streak-free windows. Before Windoline and Mr. Muscle existed, every housewife in Britain cleaned her windows with old newspaper and a splash of vinegar water. She would mix equal parts white vinegar and warm water in a bowl, wipe the glass with a wrung-out cloth, then buff it dry with a crumpled sheet of yesterday's Daily Mirror. The ink acted as a mild abrasive, polishing the glass without scratching it. The paper absorbed moisture faster than any cloth, leaving no lint behind. By the time she had finished the front bay window, the whole street could see their reflection in it. A bottle of vinegar cost 4p and the newspaper was already paid for. Compare that to £3.50 for a bottle of branded glass cleaner that leaves blue streaks in the corners. The trick was using black and white print, not the color supplements, because the ink composition was different. Every Saturday morning, the sound of squeaking newspaper on glass echoed through terraces from Salford to Sunderland. Modern microfiber cloths claim to do the same job, but they cost £6 a pack and need washing after every use. Your grandmother's windows were cleaner. She knew. Number 19. Salt on a red wine spill. When Uncle Brian knocked his glass of Beaujolais across the tablecloth at Christmas 1972, your Nan did not panic. She did not reach for a bottle of Vanish. She reached for the salt cellar. A thick layer of table salt was poured directly onto the wet stain, left for 10 minutes, then brushed away. The salt crystals absorbed the wine through osmosis before it could set into the fibers. The cloth went into the wash and came out clean as the day it was bought. A box of Saxa cost about 3p and sat in every kitchen cupboard in the country. The secret was speed. Salt had to hit the stain while it was still wet. Leave it too long, and no amount of product would shift it. Your grandmother taught this to your mother, who taught it to you. Except somewhere along the way, Vanish spent £40 million on television advertising, and we forgot that salt existed. The chemistry has not changed. Salt still works exactly the way it did in 1955. We just stopped trusting the simple answer. Number 18. Bicarbonate of soda paste for oven grease. That box of bicarbonate sitting at the back of your Nan's kitchen cupboard was the most powerful cleaning product in the house. For the oven, she would mix 3 tablespoons of bicarbonate with enough warm water to make a thick paste, spread it across the inside walls and the glass door, and leave it overnight. By morning, the baked-on grease had loosened completely. She would wipe the whole thing clean with a damp cloth in under 10 minutes. No fumes, no chemical burns, no evacuating the kitchen while Mr. Muscle did its work. A 200-gram box cost about 12p in the 1960s and lasted months because you needed so little each time. The bicarbonate created a mildly alkaline solution that broke down fatty acids in the grease, dissolving them without any of the sodium hydroxide found in commercial oven cleaners. Your grandmother never read the back of a chemistry textbook. She just knew that the white powder in the cupboard shifted anything the oven could throw at it. Oven Pride now charges £4 for a single-use bag that fills your kitchen with fumes. Your Nan spent 12p and breathed clean air. Number 17. Tea leaves for sweeping carpets. Before Hoover became a verb, your grandmother swept her carpets with used tea leaves. She would save the damp leaves from the morning pot, scatter them across the carpet, and sweep them up with a stiff broom. The damp leaves trapped dust and hair as they were pushed across the pile, pulling dirt out of the fibers instead of just pushing it around. The tannins in the tea also freshened the room, leaving behind a faint, clean scent that no aerosol could match. This was standard practice in British homes well into the 1960s. A pot of Thai food cost about 1 shilling and served double duty, first as a drink, then as a cleaning tool. Nothing was wasted. The leaves picked up pet hair, crumbs, and the fine grey dust that settled on everything in coal-heated homes. When electric vacuum cleaners became affordable in the late 1960s, the tea leaf method vanished almost overnight. But carpet cleaning experts will tell you that damp sweeping still outperforms vacuuming for picking up fine particles. We traded a free solution that worked for a 200-pound machine that needs bags, filters, and electricity. Number 16. Lemon juice on brass and copper. Those gleaming brass doorknobs and copper pans in your Nan's kitchen were not polished with Brasso. They were polished with half a lemon and a pinch of salt. She would cut a lemon in half, dip the cut side into fine table salt, and rub it over the tarnished metal in small circles. The citric acid dissolved the oxidation, and the salt provided gentle abrasion. Within minutes, blackened copper pans turned rosy pink, and dull brass handles gleamed like new sovereigns. The whole job smelled of fresh lemons instead of chemical solvents. A lemon cost about 2p, and the salt was already in the cupboard. Brasso cost 1 and 6, and left a grey residue that needed buffing out with a separate cloth. Your grandmother's method was faster, cheaper, and left a better finish. The chemistry is identical to what commercial metal polishers do, except without the petroleum distillates and ammonium compounds. Jewelers still recommend lemon juice for cleaning tarnished metals at home. We forgot, because Reckitt Benckiser told us we needed a special product for every surface. We did not. First pattern break. Here is where things get interesting. That humble bar of Sunlight soap, first manufactured by Lever Brothers in 1884, was the Swiss Army knife of the British cleaning cupboard. Your grandmother used it for everything. Shirt collars, kitchen surfaces, bathroom tiles, even as a hand scrub after gardening. But the cleverest trick was this. She would grate a tablespoon of Sunlight soap into a bucket of hot water, add a splash of white vinegar, and use it as an all-purpose cleaner for every hard surface in the house. The soap cut through grease. The vinegar dissolved mineral deposits. Together they created a cleaning solution that handled everything from the kitchen floor to the bathroom sink. A single bar cost about 6p and lasted 6 weeks. Today we buy separate products for the kitchen, bathroom, floors, glass, and worktops. 5 bottles where 1 bar did the job. Cleaning product companies figured this out decades ago. Internal documents from Unilever in the 1970s show they deliberately segmented the market, creating the illusion that each surface needed its own dedicated formula. It did not. Your grandmother knew that soap and vinegar cleaned everything. The industry spent millions making sure we forgot. Number 14. White vinegar in the kettle. Every household in a hard water area knows the chalky white crust that builds up inside the kettle. Your grandmother dealt with it once a month with nothing more than white vinegar. She would fill the kettle halfway with equal parts vinegar and water, bring it to the boil, then leave it to soak for an hour. The acetic acid in the vinegar dissolved the calcium carbonate deposits completely. 1 rinse and the kettle was clean as new. A bottle of white vinegar cost 5p and lasted for months of descaling. Today, Oust Kettle Descaler costs £2.50 for 3 sachets that contain, wait for it, citric acid and sodium bicarbonate. Ingredients your grandmother already had in the cupboard. The vinegar method was so effective that limescale simply could not build up if you did it regularly. Hard water areas like London, Kent, and East Anglia relied on this trick for generations. When plastic kettles replaced metal ones in the 1980s, manufacturers started printing instructions telling you to buy branded descaling products. They never mentioned vinegar, not because it did not work, but because there was no profit in a 5-pence bottle that did the job better than a £2.50 sachet. Number 13. Bread to pick up broken glass. Slice of bread picks up glass shards. When a glass shattered on the kitchen floor, your grandmother did not reach for the dustpan. She reached for a slice of bread. A thick piece of white bread, pressed firmly against the floor, picked up every tiny shard and splinter that a brush would miss. The soft dough trapped fragments that were invisible to the eye, but could slice a bare foot open. She would press, lift, inspect, and repeat until every piece was caught. The bread went straight in the bin. No chance of missing a sliver. This was taught mother to daughter across generations, because kitchens with stone or tile floors were treacherous when glass broke. A loaf of mother's pride cost about 9 pence and could save a trip to casualty. Dustpans and brushes push tiny shards into grout lines where they hide for weeks. Your grandmother's bread method was more thorough than anything we use today. Some families used damp cotton wool for the same purpose, but bread was always to hand, and the soft texture made it better at trapping the smallest fragments. Number 12. Toothpaste on silver. Those tarnished silver photo frames and candlesticks that sat on the sideboard got their shine back with nothing but a dab of Colgate and an old toothbrush. Your grandmother would squeeze a small amount of plain white toothpaste onto the brush, work it gently over the silver in small circles, then rinse and buff with a soft cloth. The mild abrasive in the toothpaste, usually calcium carbonate or hydrated silica, polished the surface without scratching, while the detergents lifted the dark tarnish. 5 minutes of work and the silver gleamed for Sunday tea. A tube of toothpaste cost about 1 shilling and doubled as a cleaning product nobody thought to market. Silver dip solutions cost 3 times as much and contained thiourea, a chemical that could irritate skin and eyes. Your grandmother avoided all of that with a product she was already buying for the bathroom. The trick was using plain white paste, not gel, and never the whitening formulas that came later with harsher abrasives. Simple, cheap, and effective. The 3 words that terrified every cleaning product manufacturer in the country. Second pattern break. Controversy incoming. Now here is where cleaning companies get properly sneaky. In 1985, Procter & Gamble launched Flash All-Purpose Cleaner with a campaign that showed housewives struggling with buckets and cloths before discovering the convenience of a single spray bottle. The advertisements were not selling cleaning power. They were selling shame. The message was clear. If you were still using soap and water, you were behind the times. Sales of traditional cleaning ingredients dropped 30% within 5 years. White vinegar disappeared from the cleaning conversation entirely, rebranded as nothing more than a chip shop condiment. Bicarbonate of soda became a baking ingredient only. Washing soda crystals vanished from most supermarket shelves. Yet every single one of those products cleaned as effectively as the branded alternatives. In some cases, more effectively. Internal testing data that surfaced in 2004 showed that a vinegar and bicarbonate solution outperformed 3 leading bathroom cleaners on soap scum removal. The companies knew. They just needed us not to know. Meanwhile, the average British household now spends over £600 a year on cleaning products. Your grandmother spent less than £10, adjusted for inflation. Her house was cleaner. Number 11. Washing soda crystals for drains. When the kitchen sink drained slowly, Your grandmother did not call a plumber or pour domestos down the plug hole. She boiled the kettle, dissolved a cup of washing soda crystals in the boiling water, and poured it straight down the drain. The sodium carbonate cut through the grease buildup that caused 90% of kitchen drain blockages, dissolving it on contact. She did this once a week as prevention and never had a blocked drain in 40 years. A box of dry-pack washing soda cost about 9 pence and lasted for months. Today, Buster Drain Unblocker costs £4 a bottle and contains sodium hydroxide, which can damage old pipes. Your grandmother's method was gentler and more effective because it prevented the problem rather than attacking it after the damage was done. Washing soda crystals also went into the washing machine once a month to clean the drum and dissolve detergent buildup. One product, multiple uses, pennies per treatment. The supermarkets buried washing soda on the bottom shelf, behind rows of branded drain cleaners with skull and crossbones warnings. Funny that. Number 10. Vinegar rinse for laundry. Your grandmother added a cup of white vinegar to the final rinse cycle of every wash, and her towels were softer than anything comfort could produce. The vinegar dissolved soap residue that built up in fabric over time, the same residue that makes towels stiff and scratchy after months of washing. It also acted as a natural fabric softener, relaxing the fibers without coating them in the waxy chemicals that commercial softeners use. Those chemicals actually reduce a towel's absorbency over time. Your grandmother's towels dried you properly. A bottle of vinegar cost pennies. A bottle of comfort costs £3 and gradually ruins your towels while pretending to improve them. The vinegar smell disappeared completely during drying, leaving behind nothing but clean, soft fabric. This trick also removed the musty smell from clothes left too long in the machine, a problem every household knows. White vinegar in the rinse cycle was standard practice in British laundries for decades. Fabric softener companies needed it to stop. Number 9. Chalk on grease stains. Chalk removes grease stains overnight. When cooking oil splashed onto a blouse or a chip shop bag leaked onto a good pair of trousers, your grandmother rubbed white chalk over the stain and left it overnight. By morning, the chalk had absorbed the grease completely. She would brush off the powder, and the fabric was clean. No trip to the dry cleaners, no expensive stain remover. A box of chalk cost about threepence from the newsagent and worked on cotton, polyester, and wool alike. The calcium carbonate in chalk is naturally absorbent, drawing oil out of fabric fibers through capillary action. This is the same principle that expensive stain removal powders use, except they charge £5 for what is essentially chalk dust in a fancy box with a marketing budget. Tailors and seamstresses kept chalk in their kits specifically for grease emergencies. Your grandmother learned it from her mother, who learned it from hers. 3 generations of stain removal for the price of a single stick of chalk. Number 8. Coca-Cola for toilet stains. This sounds like a playground myth, but your grandmother's neighbor swore by it, and she was right. A can of Coca-Cola poured around the rim of the toilet bowl and left overnight dissolved lime scale and rust stains that no amount of scrubbing could shift. The phosphoric acid in Coca-Cola, the same acid that gives it its sharp bite, reacted with calcium carbonate deposits and iron oxide stains, breaking them down overnight. By morning, a single flush and a light brush left the bowl gleaming white. A can of Coca-Cola cost about 5 pence in the 1970s. Harpic Power Plus costs £2.50 and contains hydrochloric acid, which is far more corrosive and produces fumes you should not breathe. The Coca-Cola method was gentler on the porcelain, safer for the household, and worked just as well on stubborn stains. Plumbers have quietly recommended this trick for decades. Coca-Cola's own marketing department has never acknowledged it. Why would they? They sell drinks, not cleaning products. But phosphoric acid does not care what the label says. It dissolves lime scale regardless. Number 7. Vinegar and bicarbonate for lime scale on taps. Third pattern break. Your grandmother could make bathroom taps gleam like showroom chrome with 2 ingredients that cost less than 20 pence combined. She would sprinkle bicarbonate of soda over the crusty lime scale deposits around the base of the taps, then pour white vinegar over the top. The fizzing reaction, you could hear it from the landing, was carbon dioxide gas being released as the acid met the alkali. That violent bubbling action physically lifted lime scale deposits away from the metal surface. She would let it fizz for 5 minutes, then wipe clean with a damp cloth. The taps looked brand new every single time. Sheffield University tested this combination against 6 leading commercial limescale removers in 2019. The vinegar and bicarbonate solution matched or outperformed 4 of them on chrome fixtures. The 2 it did not beat contained industrial-strength acids you would not want near your skin. Your grandmother's method cost a few pence and was safe enough that children could help with the cleaning. Viacol costs £3.50 for a bottle. Your grandmother's entire cleaning cupboard cost less than that. Number 6. Newspaper and vinegar for fish smells. When the Friday fish supper left the kitchen reeking of cod and chip fat, your grandmother did not light a scented candle or spray Febreze. She wiped down every surface with vinegar water, then left crumpled sheets of newspaper on the worktops overnight. The vinegar neutralized the alkaline compounds that cause fish odor, while the newspaper absorbed lingering smells from the air. By Saturday morning, the kitchen smelled of nothing at all. Not lavender, not ocean breeze, nothing. Which is exactly what a clean kitchen should smell like. A kitchen that smells of synthetic fragrance is not clean. It is masked. Your grandmother understood this distinction instinctively. Modern air fresheners coat your nasal receptors with chemicals that block your ability to detect odors. They do not remove smells. They disable your nose. Vinegar actually breaks down odor-causing molecules. The difference is between solving a problem and pretending it does not exist. One approach costs pennies. The other costs the cleaning industry £800 million a year in air freshener sales alone. Number 5. Ketchup on burnt pans. When the potatoes boiled dry or the gravy caught the bottom of the pan, your grandmother did not spend 45 minutes scrubbing with a scouring pad. She squeezed a thick layer of tomato ketchup over the burnt patch, left it for 30 minutes, then wiped it clean. The acetic acid in the vinegar component of ketchup, combined with the citric acid from the tomatoes, dissolved the carbonized food deposits that bonded to the metal surface. The sugars in the ketchup acted as a mild abrasive when wiped. The result was a clean pan with no scratches and no elbow grease required. A bottle of Heinz cost about 1 shilling and was already sitting in the cupboard. Steel wool and scouring cream, scratched non-stick coatings and stripped seasoning from cast iron. Ketchup did neither. This trick worked on stainless steel, copper, and enamel. Your grandmother did not know the chemistry. She just knew the red sauce shifted the black stuff, and that was enough. Number 4. Damp cloth on iron sole plate marks. When the iron left scorch marks on a school shirt, your grandmother did not throw the shirt away. She placed a clean, damp cloth over the scorch mark and pressed the hot iron over it, letting the steam lift the burnt fibers. For the iron itself, she would run the hot sole plate over a sheet of aluminium foil sprinkled with salt. The salt crystals scraped away the starchy residue that built up on the iron's surface, and the foil prevented the salt from scratching the metal. 5 minutes of work, and the iron glided smoothly again. No descaling tablets, no sole plate cleaning sticks at £2 each, a roll of foil and a box of salt. That is all she needed. When irons were expensive, lasting 20 years or more, maintaining them was part of the weekly routine. Now we buy cheap irons, never clean them, wonder why they stick and stain, and buy another one. Your grandmother's iron outlived 3 prime ministers because she looked after it with salt and foil. Number 3. Washing soda and vinegar for everything else. 4th pattern break. If your grandmother had one true secret, it was this: a bucket of hot water, 2 tablespoons of washing soda crystals, and a splash of white vinegar cleaned every surface in the house. Floors, worktops, tiles, skirting boards, window frames, door handles, light switches, everything. The washing soda provided alkaline degreasing power. The vinegar added acidic descaling action. Together they covered both ends of the pH scale, handling grease and lime scale in a single solution. The entire bucket cost less than 2 pence to make. She would start upstairs, working her way down, wringing the cloth into the bucket as she went. By the time she reached the front door, the whole house was clean. 1 bucket, 1 cloth, 1 afternoon. Today we have a different spray for every room. Bathroom cleaner, kitchen degreaser, floor polish, tile spray, glass cleaner, antibacterial surface wipes. The average British home contains 12 different cleaning products under the sink. Your grandmother had 3. Her house was cleaner, her cupboard was emptier, and her purse was fuller. The cleaning industry does not want you to know this. They cannot sell you 12 products if you only need 3 ingredients. That is why washing soda crystals sit on the bottom shelf in a plain box, while Flash and Sif sit at eye level in bottles designed by the same people who design perfume packaging. It is not an accident. It is a strategy. Number 2. Cold tea for polishing wooden furniture. Those gleaming mahogany sideboards and oak dressers in your grandmother's front room were not polished with pledge. They were polished with cold tea. She would brew a pot of strong black tea, let it go cold, then dip a soft cloth into it and wring it almost dry. A gentle wipe over the wood surface, followed by a buff with a clean, dry cloth, brought up a deep, warm shine that commercial polishes could not replicate. The tannins in the tea conditioned the wood, enhancing the natural grain and color. The slight acidity cleaned without stripping existing wax or finish. A pot of PG tips cost virtually nothing, and the wood benefited from every application. Mr. Sheen costs £2.50 and deposits a silicone film that builds up over time, attracting dust and dulling the finish. Your grandmother's tea method actually improved the wood with each polish. Antique dealers still recommend cold tea for maintaining the patina on fine furniture. It is the one piece of advice they give for free because they know it works and they know no product on the market comes close. Raw potato for dusty mirrors. Here is one that sounds impossible until you try it. Your grandmother would cut a raw potato in half and rub the flat, starchy surface across a dusty or slightly smeared mirror. She would then buff it clean with a dry cloth. The starch from the potato lifted the dust and created a thin, invisible film on the glass that actually repelled dust for days afterward. The mirror did not just get clean. It stayed clean longer than it would with any spray. This was common knowledge in domestic service, passed down through generations of women who cleaned large houses with nothing more than their wits and whatever the garden produced. A potato cost about a penny. That anti-static, dust-repelling finish would cost you £4.99 in a bottle of specialist glass treatment today. Your grandmother got it from the vegetable rack. She did not need a specialist. She was the specialist. Try one of these this week. Just one. Then come back and tell me if your grandmother was wrong. Share which hack you are trying in the comments, because these were not just cleaning tricks. They were wisdom that billion-pound companies spent fortunes to bury. Your grandmother knew. Now you know too.